if you want to reinforce this message about the divine multiplier and being called for such a time as this, I think you have to make a Ringle. You guys, if you haven't seen this before, this is essentially a chip ring. So you're taking Pringles shaped chips and you're going to create a circle out of them. But it takes a delicate hand. And I would use this to help reinforce the message that your kids were sent for this particular time to do this specific work. This gathering that they've been invited to do, they are a piece of it. If it were me, in fact, what I put on the printable this week that you can wrap around a can of Pringles or one of these little containers of Pringles is the quote from Hope of Israel. You remember that talk from President Nelson where he basically recruited all of the kids of this dispensation to come to this work of gathering? So you're going to want to talk to your kids about that. Maybe even listen to that talk as you try to make your Ringle. What you'll notice as you try to create this is that it takes some delicate hands. You have to create a pretty sturdy foundation before you can get to the top of that ring. In fact, if you have a weak foundation, it's almost impossible to place that last and final chip. So you want to talk to your kids about what it means to have a sturdy foundation, how all the prophets from all the dispensations before this one laid the groundwork. They built up those walls. There's a nice thick base at the bottom. And pretty soon you've got this lovely horseshoe shape. And that our opportunity is to come in these last winding up scenes and place these last few chips. But the only way it's going to work for us is if we follow the pattern that has already been established. We have to look for the shape and the trajectory that is currently in place with that foundation and align ourselves to it. That's the work of salvation. I love the way we heard about this in our last conference, so in October. This is from Elder Casillas. He talked about how each of us has been essentially given the talents to place those last few chips. I mean, those aren't his words, those are mine, but let me read you his. He said this: one of the greatest reasons your Heavenly Father sent you here at this time is so that you can realize your full potential. Your spiritual abilities are unique, personal, innate, and your Heavenly Father wants to help you develop them. There will always be someone that you can help feel the love of your Heavenly Father. Your potential is divine. I love the way he described our work in this last dispensation. It's not necessarily simply to do missionary work. It's a greater version of missionary work, which is to extend charity to all of his people everywhere, to show the love of God to everyone. Sometimes we show that love by introducing them to the gospel of Jesus Christ and helping them get on the covenant path so they can make their own connections. And sometimes we show that love through service and through diligent love to others in whatever form God would ask us to do. That's this great work of gathering. It's a work of extending his love to every single person that you can. So I'm hoping the Ringle helps you do it. You're going to notice that it's kind of tricky at times. In fact, it wobbles at times, sometimes even tips over. This is a difficult period of time, and it's one that he has recruited his best people for. There are many prophets who have talked about how you are a chosen generation because of your steady hands. In fact, I love to think about you being coached before you came here, that if you're part of this last dispensation of the fullness of times, that means all those prophets and all those matriarchs that came before us, they were your coaches before you got here. You've been trained and you've been prepared to place these last few chips. And our job is to step up and take it on.